What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 41 of my Liverpool FC playthrough here in Football Manager 2016. And today I've got for you guys my end of season 3 review. Today we're going to take a look through our team, look through some of the stats, where we finished, all that good stuff. Before we begin, just a little bit of a clarification. I'm actually recording this the day before it's going to be uploaded. I've actually recorded way beyond this episode to around episode 55. However, when I was going back to render out my episodes, episode 41 had gone walkies and I couldn't find it. So I've actually had to come back to record this today. It actually works out quite nicely because there are a few things that during this episode I want to talk about. Obviously, Christmas is coming up. I have some plans of my own and I kind of want to let you guys know what's going on my channel. But we will first and foremost just have a quick dive into this save. I'll try and re-familiarise myself with it. I have just had a quick scout around, tried to remember the situation I was at for this episode. So this season was a tricky one, shall we say. I mean, we achieved our primary objective, I guess, which was to win the Premier League. Absolutely delighted by that. However, kind of our performance in every other competition was just a little bit disappointing. To be honest, if you told me at the start of the season you're going to win the Premier League, but you're not going to reach any semi-finals, you might reach a few quarter-finals, probably would have taken that at the start of the year. But kind of the way things have panned out, it's ended up being a little bit disappointing, really. I guess we'll start with the high point, which is the Premier League, as I mentioned. And as you can see here, 8 points clear at the top of the table. We smashed this league. As you can see, Daniel Sturridge, third top goal scorer in the Premier League. Kurt Zouma had an incredible season. Joint top average rating in the league with Alexis Sanchez. Coutinho and Lacazette with 14 assists each kind of dominated the league creativity-wise. And to be honest, it was just our sheer goal-scoring threat that won us the league this year. Looking at it here, 99 goals scored in 38 games. The next highest goal scorer is Arsenal, and then lagging way behind them is Man City on 73 goals. Defensively, you know, we weren't the worst team defensively. As much as I praise our attack, we still had the 4th best defence in the league. But our ability to win games and really slay teams is what has ultimately won us the title here. So anyway, let's have a quick look through our team and our results and all that good stuff. And you can see here, to end the season, we of course played Crystal Palace. That was a game that I believe I didn't play last episode because the episode before against West Ham, which if you missed the episode 40 was a long end of kind of season special, which I definitely recommend you check out. I came back and did this Palace game. We won 4-1. Good result to end the season. Pretty happy with that. Gabriel Barbosa grabbing a brace too. So that was the league. In terms of other competitions, we'll just have a quick recap. Although, as I mentioned, not really ones to write home about. In the FA Cup, we lost in the 5th round, of course, in a replay to Manchester United. Really disappointing result, this one. Perhaps a little hard done by, if I remember correctly. In fact, yeah, okay, we were very hard done by in this game. The memories are coming back. We actually were winning at half-time, and we just completely ballsed it up. Going to regret that perhaps a little bit, but at the same time, you look at these stats, we should be winning the game. We should be scoring more than 2. Perhaps we've only got ourselves to blame with that one. In the Capital One Cup, I believe we lost to Swansea, if my memory serves me correctly. We did. We lost on penalties, 0-0. A little bit disappointing when you consider we knocked out Chelsea. And Bolo and Coutinho, the culprits there, as we only scored 2 of 4 penalties. Nothing too spectacular about that. And of course, in the Champions League, we did take on the one and only PSG. They're a little bit richer than us, and having won the first leg 2-0 and been on cloud 9, we were smashed into reality, weren't we? Looking at it here, Lucas Moura with 2 goals, David Luiz with the penalty. That late goal for Lucas Moura was the goal that kind of destroyed all hope and made me cry inside. Looking at the game, they were the better team, really can't complain too much about that, but ultimately disappointing having won the first leg 2-0 to go out of there. So I'll quickly take this opportunity before we go into the squad review just to let you guys know what's going to be coming up on this channel. As I mentioned, I've got about another season of this series recorded in advance. That's going to be coming your way over the Christmas period. I also, of course, had the Pentagon Challenge, which is going to be continuing. My aim is to get an upload up every day over Christmas for you guys. However, I am going to be spending time with my family. You know, I'm going up to visit them. Christmas is a time, I guess, where I have to leave FM. I have to actually, go outside and talk to people. And I am quite looking forward to going home to my hometown, meeting up with some friends from school, eating a mince pie or 3, and just catching up with people. But I am going to still be doing videos in the meantime. They might not be quite daily, but I hope they'll be close. Following up from this Liverpool series, I've kind of got a bit of a crossroads here because part of me wants to continue doing it from kind of season 5 onwards, but at the same time I've got another save that is going to be coming your way. So with this Liverpool save, it might take a bit of a hiatus, after next season. As I mentioned, there's still like 10-15 episodes left of that to look forward to, but from that we might take a little bit of a break from this save. We might put it on the back burner. It might be something whereby every month I'll do a seasonal update if I'm still playing this save. Perhaps in the summer we'll pick it back up and do really regular episodes, because as much as I love this series, it's a series that isn't quite getting the views that, well, other series have been getting on my channel, like the Pentagon. So coming this January the 1st, I hope, there's going to be the first episode of a new series with a kind of fictional team I've created in Gibraltar. And the aim with that series is going to be to basically take the peninsula of Gibraltar, which, if you don't know, is a nation. In fact, I don't even know if it counts as a nation. I think it's a principality technically. But the bottom line is, it's a UEFA member. You maybe have seen them play Germany and Ireland during the Euro qualifying. We're going to make a team in their second division, and we're hopefully going to take them to major European success and try and emulate a save I did on FM14, whereby I won back-to-back Champions Leagues with a club from Gibraltar, which is by far and away probably my best achievement in FM ever. And it could be a fun save to replicate. So that will be coming your way in January alongside the Pentagon, which, as I said, we'll be continuing with the Pentagon. I'm aiming for 2 to 3 episodes a week. Obviously, it's a save where I play quite a lot of FM between episodes, and so the episodes sometimes take a little bit longer, I guess, to come out. But anyway, that's what's coming your way on the channel. Mini update, I guess, squeezed in here. I would quickly like to say thank you for, well, almost 40,000 subscribers. We're probably going to hit it by Christmas. And also 7 million video views on my channel. You guys have been loving FM16. Really do appreciate it. If you've been enjoying it, if you could smash the like button on this video, let me know that you've watched to this point. Maybe let me know what you make of the Gibraltar save. I think it's going to be a fun one. Definitely an underrated league, and hopefully a few of you guys who watch will, jump on board with a challenge and maybe try and do something similar whilst I do my save. So anyway, let's have a look back to this Liverpool side. As you can see here, let's have a look at the top performers for the season to start with. And top performers, well, Daniel Sturridge, worth a mention. 26 goals and 7 assists. I love Daniel Sturridge. My big worry is that he's 28. He's worth 28 million. Very, very injury prone, and he's had a good season. And, I mean, usually that means he's going to get injured. I mean, to be fair, he's had his fair share of injuries for us, really, when you look through it here. A player who, I don't know if we'll sell this summer, but, in the next few years, probably a player we will look to offload, just because with some of the younger players like Barbosa and Embolo coming through, they need first-team football, and they're more than capable of filling Sturridge's shoes if we give them room to develop. So that's something I'm going to be looking to do. Anyway, another top performer, Kurt Zouma, of course, in his second season with the club, the Frenchman. Last year he had a very good season. This year, even better season. Only missed 1 league game, 7.79 average rating. Absolutely incredible. Other top performers, Nathaniel Klein, another good season for this guy. He is obviously a fantastic right back for us, one of only a few players left at the club from when I first joined. And you can see here this year, 10 assists, 2 goals, a 7.46 average rating. Really good season for him in the Premier League. And yeah, 13 assists for a right back is not too shabby. And he also played 50 games almost. And actually, it's worth noting, Kurt Zouma, 54 matches this season. That is pretty good going. Anyway, Coutinho, another top performer this year. Again, a player with a few injuries. Been a little bit of a concern, really. Knee ligament damage he had at the start of this year in October time for 6 weeks. Pulled his hamstring at the end of the season. Little bit of a shame, really, but despite those injuries, he still had a fairly solid season in the league. 14 assists, 9 goals. Not contributed too much in other competitions, it's fair to say, although, of course, injuries throughout, a bulk of the Champions League group stage games probably has hindered him a little bit. But regardless, 7.4 rating for him. We've had a few fairly big offers, in this save. I don't know if I've touched upon them too much. I definitely want to keep hold of him. At 25 years old, definitely got a number of years left ahead of him, and really developing into a fantastic player for us. Anyway, the next player worth a mention, Mamadou Sakho. Again, another player, I guess, still at the club from when we first joined. He's had another great season. 34 games played for this guy, not quite as many as last year. 2 goals and 1 assist, though. 7.38 average rating. He's been kind of steady Eddie in this team. He's not had the standout games. He's not scored a load of goals as a defender, but he's just been ever reliable. I guess on the other side of the coin, let's have a look at Lacazette, because he's been anything but kind of steady Eddie. This guy, I'm going to call him something Freddy. I can't think of a word that rhymes with Freddy that isn't steady. So I guess we'll just go with Lacazette, because that's his name. Anyway, he's been pretty good for us, this guy. 16 goals, 14 assists. Of course, we do have Dybala coming in the summer, and as much as I think Lacazette's a great player, I wonder if we could get a really, really massive bid for him. If we just compare him and Dybala, if I can, My thinking here really is that Dybala is a vastly superior player to Lacazette. Like, no disrespect to Lacazette, been fantastic for us. And despite how good he is, well, Dybala is just in a completely different league. And so Lacazette might be the casualty who has to go out when Dybala comes in. Now, in terms of how much money we get for Lacazette, well, that's the big question. At the moment, he's valued at £34 million. I'd really like to get 50 million plus for him, ready to be selling him. Dybala is joining us for £68 million. If we could get anywhere close to recouping that money with this transfer, I would be absolutely delighted. I guess that's the thing to aim for really there. But he has been a good player for us, Lacazette. It feels a little bit cruel perhaps to be selling him. But the bottom line is with Dybala coming in, we're going to have one of the best strikers in the world. And players have got to move on. I want to give, room, as I mentioned, with the kind of the storage potential sale, the youngsters to come in and really kind of find their feet in this side. Anyway, the next player, a youngster who really has found his feet this year, Yuri Tielemans, 21 years old, the Belgium international. Really developed nicely this year. Regularly playing in the Belgian first team now as well. And you can see here this season, 3 assists, 0 goals. It doesn't look like a massive contribution. But in terms of his actual passing ability and such, it's just been top draw this year. Really good player. Averaged a 9.2 in non-competitions where he got 2 assists. Didn't quite live up to that billing really during the actual season, and as you can see, he's not actually played a ton of league games for us. 15 starts, 11 appearances off the bench, but certainly this year he's kind of established himself as a player who is a frequent member of the first team, and we're going to kind of see that evolution, I think, continue into the coming season. Anyway, next player, Moreno. We already talked about Klein out on the right. Moreno definitely worth a little nod of the head on the left. Not perhaps had a standout season with Fred or George coming into the side. We've nicknamed him Fred, of course. Moreno's kind of vacated this spot a little bit, but when he has played, he's done a very good job for us. 8 assists, 7.28 average rating. Can't complain about that. A fantastic attacking fullback. And speaking of kind of his counterpart, his kind of rival, I guess, for position, Fred, he's had a good season himself. As you can see, face pack installed now. He looks beautiful. He looks like a Fred. Glad we renamed him. But you can see here, valued at 20 million. Of course, joined us this year in January for 10 million. And to be honest, looking like a good little bit of business. 1 goal and only 2 assists, but a really good average rating. Defensively, been extremely solid for us. Been a frequent player in our first team as well, kind of really given Moreno stiff competition. I think Moreno's probably slightly better, but Fred is younger with room to grow into. And Moreno is a player who we have had a few offers from in the past. And I never really had the replacement at the time, but you may well see him get replaced this year. Anyway, Firmino, the next man, injured, as you guys may remember. A few episodes ago now, out for 8 months. Now, I don't want to say Firmino's career is over for us, but he's not been a really essential player in our first team, even this year. He's been a good player when he's played, don't get me wrong, a 7.17 rating, nothing to be scoffed at this season. But with him being out for 8 months, and with us having the likes of Henderson, obviously Coutinho, we've already talked about, we got fantastic attacking midfielders, Mario Götze as well. It kind of leaves me in a situation where I think his career is done for us, because we've got great other options, in this position. We've even got, the youngsters coming through as well when it comes to centre attacking mid. We've got the likes of, where are we looking here? Players like Sampaio, who are just going to be incredible players in a few years, this centre attacking mid. And we need to make room for these guys to come in. And Firmino is just going to be the man who, again, kind of, I guess, feels the strain of some of our really good youngsters coming through, and will probably just lose his position. And it's almost disadvantageous for me to have him in the team because, well, he's going to be taking up a slot for a player that could develop into a far better player than he is, to really have a stage to shine on. And it's a shame, but you are kind of starting to see at this point now kind of an evolution in this Liverpool side. Initially, I brought in some young players, then I brought in some strength to the side. And now those investments I made kind of 3 seasons ago, 2 seasons ago, even this season, they're starting to mature. They're starting to get to a stage now where they are competing with the kind of staple players on my first team. And I've got to slowly kind of have this transitional period. And it's going to be a tricky period for us. And it's going to be tricky to manage the squad. But as a result, there are going to be players that just simply lose their positions. Unfortunately, with Firmino's injury, not going to be able to get rid of him in this summer because, well, no team's going to take him injured. Anyway, a few other players to look at. Thiago Maia, best pass completion percentage in the team this year, the 21-year-old Brazilian. Good little player for us, good defensively. I do feel like centre defensive mids, particularly in the beta, were very lowly rated for what they actually contributed. I think Maia's been a little bit better than a 6.94 in my opinion. 2 goals, 2 assists for him this year. Not a standout season by any means, but at 21 years old, a good player. Will he ever be kind of the defensive midfielder we need? Will he be that world-class kind of player who just becomes an essential part of our team, a kind of a cornerstone? Probably not. However, I think for the next few seasons, certainly, he's going to be a good player for us to have. Anyway, next players we'll look at are two young strikers. Bril Embolo, the first one, of course, went on loan to Bournemouth last year, came back to our team this year with a season of Championship football under his belt. Really shone under it. 8 goals, 5 assists, a 7.09 average rating. Obviously, a lot of his appearances come in on off the bench. 13 starts, 16 off the bench. Did also play in Europe a little bit. Got 3 goals actually in Europe in 1 start and 5 sub appearances. Nothing there to be ashamed of. And Gabriel Barbosa, on the other hand, a little bit disappointing this year, this guy. 21 years old though, still time to develop, but only 5 goals in 13 games. I certainly, towards the end of the season, was leaning on Bril Embolo to be kind of our third choice striker behind Sturridge and Lacazette. Barbosa very much kind of relegated. Maybe a player who we might look to loan now if there's another team in Europe, maybe even in the Premier League, who want to take him on. He's going to be a great striking option for them. But at the moment, with the competition we have, with potentially Dybala coming in and, well, maybe Lacazette going out, maybe not, there probably isn't going to be a spot in the team for Barbosa next year at the moment. And he's a player who we definitely want to keep around because he's got potential, but at the moment he's really not lived up to kind of the billing, I guess. Anyway, let's take a look at kind of the real stats here. So Gert's a player we've not talked about, of course, injured with a broken toe at the moment, which isn't great. But he has got 13 goals and 7 assists this year. Not terribly high on the average ratings. A bit of a shame, really. But he's been a very good player for us, obviously. Joined us on a free. Definitely a game changer this season. Definitely a player who made a difference in the title push. 12 goals, 7 assists. Really good return for a first season. Shame the injuries kind of hit him towards the end of the year. Hopefully that isn't going to hurt him too much over the summer. And keep an eye on him coming back strong soon. Richeli Berzor, I think it is. Is that how we say his name? Or Bazua? I don't know. Answers on a postcard. This guy, love him. Very good player for us. Not necessarily kind of, again, he's kind of a bit like Tielemans, I guess. He's played a lot more than Tielemans, to be fair, this year. He's been kind of a staple of the first team, but at the same time, I don't know if he's ever going to be kind of a superstar in the team. I guess that's my concern with him. I think he's a great young player, but I look at him and he's improved a little bit over the last few years, but not as much as I'd like. And of course, we did only bring him in for £26 million, and he has improved and has proved himself. He does have a fairly hefty release clause, but he's a player who, I don't know, he might develop into this absolute world beater in our team, but I don't know. I feel like we've got better, younger prospects coming through, and he might be a player who loses his position down the line, as a player who, great player, but is he going to be a player who we want to, play game in, game out? And the answer is probably not, to be honest, with some of the really good prospects we've got coming through the team. Players like Zhao here, they're going to be fantastic players in a few years. You will notice, actually, that for this newest episode, you won't see this in the next few episodes because, as I mentioned, I'm recording back. I've got better regen faces installed. If you'd like to see a video on this mod, how to get it in, makes the regens look a lot nicer in terms of their hair, let me know. That's something that we can look to do because I know people don't really like the regen hair this year in FM, and I can't say I blame them. It's a little bit lame. So, yeah, improved regen faces, something that we might look to cover. Anyway, what else has been going on in the team? Well, we'll have a quick look at assists, but we have already covered kind of the main contributors. I guess Jordan Henderson, a player we've not talked about much. Considering he played 47 games, we probably should chat about Jordan. 27 years old, club captain, really kind of mature head. You can see 34 games for him here. Most games he's played in a season under us. Put the injury behind him that he had in his first season to start kind of the year. He's had a few little injuries, but nothing too major this season. And, well, to be honest, he's just become a really solid player for us. 10 assists, 4 goals. Really can't complain about that in 33 games. 7.16 average rating in all competitions. In terms of our tactic for this year, it's seen a little bit of an evolution since we first started using it that I've not talked about too much. We've now kind of switched around some of the roles in midfield, going with that roaming playmaker. We still kind of stick with a complete forward poacher, trequartista. Really, it's not changed too much since when we first used it. I know some people ask about the tactics. Here it is. It's just kind of a direct 4-3-3 for all intensive purposes. Obviously, the trequartista, technically not a striker, but the way it kind of functions, we have quite a flexible front three in this kind of shape, and with the support the midfielders offer and the width out wide, we see a lot of crosses coming into the box, and a lot of our goals are just kind of nicely worked play. It sometimes leaves us exposed because obviously you've seen with Moreno and Klein, I think they've got something like 25 assists between them this year, which for fullbacks isn't too bad at going, and that is really because they overlap. It has left us a little bit open at the back. But if you guys have watched me for a while on YouTube, you'll know my general attitude in football, and certainly in FM, is if we play attacking and we outscore an opposition, that gives us a better chance of winning than if we kind of just sit back and let them attack and try to hit them on the break. But anyway, I think that's going to wrap up this end of season review. Money-wise, our money isn't great, but we have already had all the money go out for the Dybala transfer, which is £68 million, which is obviously a massive amount to kind of go out, so I'm not too worried about that. I don't think there's anything too much more going on. I guess our facilities are being improved, which is worth noting. Our wage budget is really, really high. We could look to redistribute that if we wanted to. Because of financial fair play, we can only increase our total wages by so much anyway, year on year. But anyway, that was going to wrap up this episode from me. I don't think I did too badly to say I've had to come back and record this episode, so recently. I would like to just quickly apologise for the lack of videos over the last few days. I've not been feeling too great of late, kind of wellness-wise. I've been off work sick. Don't really want to upload videos even though I've got a backlog, because it's a bit of a scummy thing to do. You're off work sick, still uploading videos. Doesn't look too good on you. But I'm going to be back now, as I mentioned, daily videos, hopefully through Christmas. Obviously, if there's a few gaps, I hope you guys will understand. Hopefully you guys like the idea of the Gibraltar save. As I mentioned, one more season of this left to go. And then, we're going to take a break from it. We might do the odd update now and then. But I appreciate for some people the save has kind of got a little bit tedious, which is fair enough. To be honest, this was meant to be a beta save. It was meant to be played for the first 2 weeks. I might get 30 episodes out of it, a few seasons. And I've got a little bit carried away because I thoroughly enjoyed it. But anyway, I am now rambling now. I feel like I've said but anyway like 3 or 4 times, trying to transition to some kind of end point to my kind of ramblings, and it's not really worked. So guys, I'm going to wrap things up here. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed, smash the like button. Let me know, as I mentioned, what you think of my save, if you'd like to see the better regen, faces, install video, all that good stuff. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.